Hello from International JavaScript Conference 2018 in London. My name is Ann-Kathrin Klose and I'm talking to Nir Kaufman from 500 Tech today about Angular Reactive Forms. Nir, you just did a session on this topic and maybe we can just start very basic with the question of why would you use Angular and not maybe React for forms?
All right, AngularJS actually, the good old Angular, started its way as a forms library. So in the very core of Angular, there is handling forms is a very important aspect. And the new version of Angular, of course, continue the legacy of AngularJS and provide the user an entirely focused forms model which contain rich API to deal specifically with forms. Other frameworks just don't have it. I mean, in React, for example, which is probably the most popular framework today, there is a lot of community-driven libraries to handle forms. Actually, few of them. In Angular, it came straight from the core, so it's integrated with the framework. It's got the same API, the same state of mind. So if you've got an application that uses a lot of forms, probably that will be the reason for choosing Angular, not other libraries.
Okay, you also said there are different ways to do forms in Angular, like module-driven approach. What would that be?
There is two approaches. The first one is declarative, working with templates. In some cases, if you build a simple form, it's much more straightforward way to go, because you don't need to mess with code. You don't have a lot of logic. You can let the framework do its magic behind the scene. Just put this spatial property on your DOM element and everything works out of the box. In other cases, when you've got a complicated nested form, when you need to create your own form controls, maybe you've got something date picker that is very unique to your app and you want to build a specific form control for it. Maybe you've got your own custom async validations. You need to go to several APIs and check some values. In those cases, building your forms in the model-driven way make more sense, because the form become what I call code-driven. All of your work is done with objects inside your component class and not magically by the framework behind the scenes.
Okay, so actually this form module sounds great, but also a bit complicated. So is it easy to start working with it or rather hard?
It's easy to start if you're coming from an object-oriented background. So if you did some Java or C#, it's probably going to be very easy for you, because Angular in general and the form module as well is implementing basic, very familiar object-oriented patterns like polymorphism, like interfaces. So creating a class and referencing methods on a class, it's very easy and straightforward. The complicated part, which personally I don't think it's very complicated, it's just you've got a lot of API. So you need to learn a lot of API and how to use it and which arguments you can pass and what do you get back. But luckily Angular written with TypeScript, so the code kind of documents itself. So.
Okay, and what about projects that utilize other libraries like Redux? Can you combine them with the forms?
Yes, of course. I mean, there's Redux is framework agnostic anyway. So you can use Redux with whatever rendering layer you like. React, Angular, plain HTML, doesn't really matter. Because Angular forms are reactive by nature, which means that you've got methods that enable you to listen, subscribe to form changes, and on the other way, simple methods to update and set value on the forms, making the integration with Redux is very easy. You just need to subscribe to your store, to your state, and write values to your form, and listen to form changes and dispatch actions to sync it with the state.
Okay, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.